Hi guys, my name is Hakim. I'm from E2 Productions, and today I'll be sharing with you guys my review on the new Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K. I've been using this camera for a few weeks right now, and I think this is a good sharing point for me to give you guys if you guys plan to own this camera. There will be 5 talking points in this video, and first will be affordability. With the price range that Blackmagic offers, I want to see how does it compares with other brands that offer the same price range. Which of these brands can give us the best video specs? Secondly, I'm going to talk about the lens compatibility, like what kind of lens that you can use with the Blackmagic Pocket. Thirdly, I'm going to talk about the battery life. As we all know, from the 4K, the battery life wasn't really that good. So we want to see if there is any new improvement with this battery life on the Blackmagic 6K. And also, I will show you guys a different method if you guys want to find a way to extend your battery life using a V-mount battery. And next, I'll be talking about the recording format. There are different ways that you can use to record using this camera, either using an SD card, CFast card, or even an external SSD. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the compatibility of this camera with the available stabilizers and gimbals that are in the market right now. I am also going to share the advantages and disadvantages from my experience using this camera and what could be improved if, let's say, they were to come up with another version of a Pocket Cinema.
The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K allows you to record up to 6K Blackmagic RAW and also shoots in ProRes 422. Combination of the high dynamic range, great low light performance, and Blackmagic RAW gives you feature film images with precise skin tones and gorgeous organic colors. It also gives you a Super 35 sensor and EF lens mount. The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera lets you use larger EF photographic lenses to create cinematic images with shallower depth.
Okay, so let's talk about the affordability of this camera. Well, this camera retails at $2,999. If you want to compare it with other brands out there like Sony, maybe the A7 III. I mean, A7 III, don't get me wrong, it's a good camera for video as well. But when you want to talk about video and when you think about the price, and if you think with this price you can shoot 6K, I mean, that is just a steal. There are no other camera or no other brands out there that offer this price range with these video specs. Now, the one downside is that if you buy a Blackmagic Pocket, you don't have the ability to take photos. But that is the special thing about the Blackmagic. They are specially made for videographers, for cinematographers. And that's the reason why you can get the best video specs out of this camera with this price range. So if I can give you guys an advice, maybe you guys should think of what are you guys going to do with this camera? Like what are the kind of videos that you guys are going to do with this camera? Are you guys going to do music video or maybe wedding videos? Because for me, if you guys are going to do like wedding videos, I think a camera like Sony would be more compatible. The reason being is the flip screen. Sometimes you want to be fast, right? And with the Blackmagic, in order for you to have that flip ability, the flip screen ability, you need to have an external monitor, and that overall will make your whole gear looks big and heavy already. And that is not included if you want to put that on top of a gimbal, then that's going to be another problem. For me, a camera like a Sony A7 III is easier in mobility in such situation. It also offers a 5-inch display, which is already on the camera, which is already amazing. And one thing that I really like about this camera is that you can install your LUTs, preload LUTs inside the camera itself. So sometimes when we use like the Sony or the Canon and we wanna like preview our footages with our favorite LUTs, right? We usually need to use an external monitor. But for this, the monitor is already big, it's already 5-inch, and plus you can put your LUT inside. Man, that's already amazing. The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K is compatible with all Canon lenses, and this is a plus point for all Canon users. So if you guys out there who have already collected a few Canon lenses, you guys no need to switch your lens or buy new lenses when you guys switch to the Blackmagic, and that's a plus point. So the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K uses the Canon LP battery. Well, That's a plus point for all the Canon users out there. As we know, the Canon LP battery, I should say, is quite cheap in the market, so it's very accessible for everyone. But the one downside thing is that with the full Canon LP battery, you can only last for about 45 minutes when you're shooting 6K RAW. However, for those of you out there who wants to extend your battery life, I would suggest you guys use a V-mount battery. However, you guys will need an adapter for this. As you guys can see, there is a 2-pin at the side of the camera, and you guys can just plug in the 2-pin and the other side to the V-mount battery. Try to get an extension for the cable. So what you can do is that you can carry like a bag or something, and then you can put the V-mount inside your bag, and as you move around. Next, we're gonna talk about the capturing method. Well, this camera offers 3 different ways that you can record your footages. Firstly, SD card. Second, CFast card. And third is by using an external SSD. To me, the best way to record with the Blackmagic is using an external SSD. The reason why I said that is because for about 100 plus, you can get a 1TB SSD. CFast card is more expensive. Now, the thing is, with the external SSD, once you have recorded your footages into the external SSD, you can actually directly plug that to your computer and directly edit your videos from the SSD. Now that's a really good advantage for people who are editing on the go and they don't really have much space or hard drive space in their laptops, so they can just keep all the footages in that SSD. But the downside is that you absolutely need to back up your footages. So at the end of the day, you might need another external SSD just for backup. But I think that's the best way also.
Well, the next thing that I'm gonna talk about is the compatibility of this camera with the existing stabilizers and gimbals out there in the market. As we all know, gimbals are all about balancing the weight. So as long as your camera plus your lens is under the maximum weight that the stabilizer can hold, it should be able to balance the gear. For me personally, I own a Zhiyun Crane 2, but this is one thing that I didn't realize when I first used this camera, is that for me to put the gimbal, even to slot the gimbal onto the stabilizer itself, actually I need to fix a cage because the body of the camera just wouldn't fit.
Well, here are my list of advantages for the Blackmagic 6K. Now firstly, it's a very compact camera with a cinema quality specs. Now, for example, if you want to shoot cinema quality footages at places that you might need permit, and we all know sometimes we shoot at places without permit, so this is a really good way for you to keep yourself small, not grabbing much attention, and then security won't chase you away. Another thing that I like about this camera is that it gives you the ability to install your favorite lights into the camera. So that to me is a really plus point. Sometimes when we shoot, when we haven't really decided on what lights we're gonna be using during the edit, it really helps on the location when we can preview the light and kind of have an idea and a look of where we're trying to go. This is a very helpful tool because sometimes when you're on set or when you're on location, you don't have the feel. So sometimes you need the light to maybe just to reassure you, okay, the exposure is right, the look is right, and then that keeps you going throughout the rest of the day. For me, when I see my first footages or like the first few footages that I took look nice, it will give me the confidence to to run the whole day. And last but not least, the 5-inch monitor that is already on the body of the camera, I think that's amazing as well. If you guys were to use like the Sony mirrorless camera, I mean they are good as well, but sometimes most of us, we will punch the external monitor down there and it makes the whole gear look big. And I don't know what's the thing about external monitors is that sometimes when we fix the external monitor, people think we are like a big team or something like that. When they just see a big setup, when it's just an external monitor, they feel like, oh, you cannot shoot here, you cannot shoot here. I mean, so sometimes when you have this kind of camera with no external monitor, you can just say this is a normal DSLR, you know, they don't even know. It's like, okay, you know. So the list of disadvantages of this camera for me, from my experience, is that firstly, I would prefer if the monitor can be flipped like the ones on Sony, or maybe they can do like the ones on Canon, come out here, turn. That is so much better, because you know why, when you shoot this, you know, in a run and gun situation, and when you shoot up high, you really can't see, and go down here, you really can't see as well. And sometimes with the sun, it glares, then you really cannot see what you are shooting. So I feel that if you can maybe pop, if Blackmagic can pop out this monitor, it would be great. It would be great, because at times when we want to use this camera, we want to get high quality 6K footage with no attention, like we don't want people to see us. But there is, when we put an external monitor, and then it really defeats the purpose of having a small setup. You get what I mean? So they already have a good, you know, big size 5-inch monitor here. You know, if they can just make this flip a bit downwards and upwards, that will be amazing. Secondly, the thing that maybe to me is not as good as I expected was the image stabilization, because I used to use Sony Alpha cameras, so the image stabilization in those cameras really helps me a lot, you know. And for me personally, I really have shaky hands, and I'm not really strong, you know, on my arms. So when I, you know, like the Blackmagic itself is relatively much more heavier camera than the Sony bodies. So when I hold it, you know, sometimes I get a bit too shaky. And if I want to do like shots, you know, for example, when I want to do shots like this, you know, it's not as smooth as I wanted to. I mean, I think this is just my problem, but I don't know, maybe some of you guys might have this problem too. But one good thing about when you're shooting slow-mo with this camera is that there is an option for you to off speed. So the thing is that you can actually view your footage in slow-mo in this camera. But you know, sometimes when you're too shaky, it doesn't really look good as well. So yeah. And last but not least is the poor battery life. Although the Blackmagic is really friendly for a lot of Canon users out there, because it uses the LP batteries and is also compatible with all the Canon lenses, but the battery life for the LP batteries is not really good. People say, I mean, to me it's okay when they say that you can shoot 6K RAW for 45 minutes. I mean, to me that is very reasonable. To me that's really good, but for some that is still not enough. But don't worry, if you guys think that 45 minutes is too short, there are always other ways for you to extend the battery life. For example, by using a V-mount battery. But like I said just now, you need an external adapter cable for that. So guys, that's about it. That's my review on this camera. You know, I really apologize if you guys felt that my opinion or review doesn't suit with you guys, but these are my reviews and my experience when I'm using this camera for the past few weeks. Once again, I want to apologize if there are any shortcomings in this video. This is my first time doing this, and I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope to do more reviews. And yep, I'm gonna be signing off. My name is Hakim, and I'm from Ito Productions. Bye bye.